Welcome to the CP Stage. My name is Brandon Porter. I'm the editor of Baptist Press. We're so glad that you've joined us for this CP panel where we're going to be talking about leading the way, helping your church learn about the Cooperative Program. Joining me is Gregg Matt. He is the senior pastor of Houston's First Baptist Church. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Jose Abella is with us. He is leading the Sin Network Espanol, but is also the lead pastor of a church, Grove Park, right? No, Providence Road. I'm sorry. Providence Road Church in Miami, Florida. Thank you for being here.
It's a joy to be here with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk first of all, why is it important to educate your church about the Cooperative Program?
Well, you know, when we think about our church, we want to educate them because it shows partnerships and it shows reach that we can't have. You know, folks come into church, they sit down and they think about what we're doing in the city or in the neighborhood or what's happening in the children's ministry or student ministry. But the Cooperative Program is this wonderful arm that stretches out to seminaries and stretches out to missions and stretches out to the state. And so it gives us an opportunity to really say it's not just Jerusalem and Judea, but it's Samaria and the uttermost parts of the world. And so that's one of the things that I love being able to promote in our church is that we have a bigger reach than we have just sitting here in this room. And then secondly, I think it gives us an opportunity to really brag on the Southern Baptist Convention to say, here's something that's going extremely well, something that's really exciting, and here's how your dollars are coming into the Southern Baptist Convention, into the church, and into reaching even further. So those partnerships of extension and then also that good news about the denomination, those are the two blessings that I like to highlight.
Yeah, that's great. How about you, Pastor Jose?
Yeah, it's amazing to think how when you think about the average size church in the Southern Baptist Convention, it's under 100 members, so about 75 or so. A church on its own is able to do not too much. I mean, it's able to reach their neighborhood, do a few things. But collectively, as a convention, 47,000 churches, whatever the latest number is, together we could do so much. So for us to see the fruit here today even, and just see how much our dollars are able to be expanded into the far reaches of the world, really, through the IMB, through NAM, through our all of our seminaries, to just raise men and women for the sake of the mission. It's something amazing that we can all tangibly see with our eyes, that we could experience every Sunday. And we know that we're not alone. As we are worshiping in our churches, we know that we're connected to something much larger, bigger than ourselves as a church.
Yeah. Let's talk about some practical aspects of that. You know, the scriptures call us in our local church to preach, to sing, to pray, to read the Word of God. We do a lot. We do that. We do small groups. We do Sunday school. We do children's ministry. We do a lot of things. It is a challenge to add in something else, like the promotion of the Cooperative Program or the education of the Cooperative Program. How do you accomplish that in your setting?
Well, I try to just weave it in as we're going, kind of as we go, more than we're going to take a turn, we're going to go off the side, and we're going to then talk about this and get back on the highway. So we try to weave it in within our generosity moments. Here's some great things. Instead of just saying give, we want to say, here's what we've done, and here's what's being done, therefore give, and try to touch the heart. And that heart touch makes a huge difference. In our generosity moments, so much has changed even after COVID. It used to be you passed the offering plate, you had a special offering song, you gave all the attention to it. It's a real moment. Now it's more online, at least in our context, digital giving, such like that. And to be able to have that in the generosity moment, here's what we're doing, and here's why you should give. Secondly, I try to use illustrations in my messages.
Okay.
Here's things that are happening on the mission field. Here's things that happened when I was in seminary. Here's the way that this good was birthed in my life and other people's lives. And then to let those illustrations be a part of the message. So now it's woven in, and it's a place of biblical truth, but an illustrative moment to be able to have that. And then thirdly, what I've tried to do is to have guest speakers when I'm out that represent different entities that prosper from the Cooperative Program.
Yeah.
So we've had folks from NAM, IMB, church planters, and to say, here's a real live person that is benefited, that is blessed by our giving that's gone through the denomination to make that difference. And
that's helpful.
That's been good to weave it in.
Absolutely. Let's go back and talk about the first one just a second, the generosity moment. Where do you get the content? What does that look like?
Yeah, I just try to see a time where I've seen God move.
Okay.
And even our communications department, our church is a large church, so we have a communications department. They're always looking for stories.
Okay.
And so if we can find those stories that are a blessing of maybe somebody that's been helped through adoption, or there's so many disasters that happen, to be able to highlight send relief and to say, here's something we've given to in this way. And so I'm just trying to keep my ears open, even as I'm here at the SBC today and this week, to be able to say, okay, what's some things that God's doing? Put those in front of our people. And when you show them what God's doing, they want to jump in and be a part of it. It's very inviting.
Yeah, so I guess I would drop the ball if I didn't take the opportunity right here to give a little plug for Baptist Press, where folks can read stories and keep up with things that are happening through Southern Baptist and their cooperation together in the Cooperative Program. Certainly North American Mission Board, very powerful presence on social media, online, of telling those stories. What are some ways that you all do that? Let's talk. So you wear dual hats there with the entity, but then also in the local church. Let's talk about first in the local church.
Yes, for us, it starts in the membership process. So there's a lot of folks in Miami that don't know anything about Southern Baptist life, who are new believers, and we have to help them understand what it means to be Southern Baptist. So in our membership process from day one, we are already teaching them about what does it mean to cooperate together as Southern Baptist. Also announcements, right? So regular updates in our member meetings, But most of all, it's just involvement. We're so involved, church planters and missions teams, and just having those stories before them. Visitors, people who we partnered with, who are there sharing their stories, sharing their lives. We are exposing them to all the different ministries of the church. That is helpful for all to see, okay, we are involved in something that is bigger than ourselves, and it's something that the Lord has done to bring us all together, Southern Baptists, in order to be able to resource all this, and then that actually motivates us to say, let's go, right? We could help out in very specific ways with our dollars to help take the gospel to other places.
Talk to us a bit about those members meetings. I think that's probably also the same word that's used for business meetings in some churches.
We call it family meetings.
There you go. So talk about the tone, talk about what you're trying to accomplish in those meetings, and then how the cooperative program flows into that.
What happens at Providence Road, we have five pastors right now, and oftentimes we are in the echo chamber of all the stories, and we're all talking about it, but the church doesn't really know. So what we want to do in those member meetings, really highlight. We take our time, maybe half the members meeting. It's just highlighting stories, and then having that open for people to ask whatever they want, about processes, about where we're at, about where we're going. So just involve the entire church in the conversation, so that they have buy-in, so that then they finally understand it's not just the pastors who are doing it, it's all of us who are involved in this.
Absolutely. So a common theme that I'm hearing from you all is certainly statistics are important, certainly dollars are important, but it's the stories that really resonate with people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because they want to know that God's at work, and that their money is at work, and their time is at work, and their resources at work. And that's really what we're supposed to be about. So the more you highlight the stories, the better it's going to be, because in that moment, it's not just a bureaucracy, it's not just an entity, it's not just an organization. It's something that really touches the heart to make that connection.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of entities, so then, Pastor Jose, pull back a little bit as you work not just with your church, but with a multitude of churches. How do you help them educate and lead out in the cooperative program?
Planters in the Hispanic world, there's such a need. It is very difficult for the Hispanic community, to raise support, and so just the idea of being part of NAM, for example, and to be able to be sent out with your family, a team of people, and be supported through NAM, through other resources, and through CP. It's just something that it just motivates any Hispanic church planner to say, okay, I want to be part of SEND because I'm part of something global, but I also see the partnership, the help. It's not just money, it's prayers, it is friendships, it is mentoring, it is all the above, and all of it is possible because of the cooperative program at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's helpful. Before getting involved in denominational work, I was a pastor for a number of years. And one of the things that I learned was how to maybe recognize the personality of our church, the way God had gifted us, the things that they were interested in, and then to look for avenues through our cooperative partnership to help people plug into different ministry areas. How do you see that in your church, and then how do you help people connect to that cooperative partnership?
Yeah, that happens so organically and organizationally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be the person that organically is like, I sense something in me, I know a spiritual gift in me, I want to be a part of this, I want to serve in this way. And then it happens organizationally where you try to put something together that can match that. So we've done a lot of mission trips as churches do, and we'll put together a group of particularly ladies, and we'll send them, and they'll go to a conference to help with IMB to watch and take care of the kids while the parents are doing the missionary conference. And it just fits perfect with their gift set, with who they are. It doesn't have to be just ladies. I'm just saying the ladies oftentimes are more loving in that realm. And so that's a blessing. Or we'll say, well, here's some guys that their giftedness is they're going to go and do construction projects.
Right.
And so it's organic and it's organizational. And so what we have to do is to put on one side the organizational parts that the venues to be able to connect, and then the organic part to give them the ability to learn and discover how God has made them. And so when you're preaching towards that and then providing this, you end up with a Holy Spirit moment where God starts bringing these things together.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what would you add to that?
Yeah, one of the ways that we do it, we have a church planting residency program.
Oh.
So what we have is our church adopt these residents who are with us for a year to be sent out to plant churches around North America. So it's a very tangible way in which they can invite them over to their home, invite them over for dinner, just have a relationship with them and love them, understanding the whole way that these are new churches being sent out, and it's all happening because of our partnerships. So that is one of the ways, and then all of the other avenues, whether it's missionary partnerships and sending people out on teams, and just trying to find ways, mostly organically, to be involved in all these different areas of our church's life.
Yeah, that's helpful. What would you all say as we begin to wrap up? Maybe there are pastors who are watching, and they would say, that sounds great. I wish that would work in our church. What's a word of encouragement you'd offer to that pastor?
Well, I'd say that this is a great vehicle to do what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's no choice with it. The choice is the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to give to missions? Of course you are. Are you going to give to furthering education of folks? Of course you are. Are you going to want to be a partner with somebody? Of course you are. The only decision is the vehicle. And what we have in our church is this is a trusted vehicle. We can pick up the phone and talk to these people. We can be here at the Southern Baptist Convention. We know theologically where they are. We know practically where they are, historically where they are. So it's a perfect vehicle for that. So I would say for the young pastor or the new pastor that's trying to decide, the question is not what, the question is who. You're going to do these things. You should do these things. These are biblical things to do. The question is, who are you going to do them through? And if you try to do it all yourself, it's just going to be mind spending. I mean, how do you do that? You don't have a platform to do that. So we just feel very comfortable with the who. There's trustworthy, there's credibility, there's historicity behind it, and we're going to let that be the thing. So the what, yes, and the who, yes. And then we kind of don't have to worry about it or think about it. We just are able to focus and to see God use it.
Yeah, that's helpful. How about Pastor?
That's good. For the church that isn't involved at all, who's having a time helping their people understand what is Southern Baptist life and specifically Cooperative Program, I think we need to just start with something small. Just take the first step. Invite a missionary over, right? Support a church planter. Watch a video provided by CP, right? Because I believe we have a website, right?
Absolutely.
With a ton of resources. Just do something small, anything to just start to ignite a fire so that your folks would understand that, hey, we are in this together as Southern Baptist. So, that's what I would say.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I think also, too, for the pastor CP's not trying to take over the church. It's not going to be 90% to CP and 10% to the church. So if you get the giving and the people behind the generosity of the church, this is going to be the natural out product. More than this has to be the lead of it. it's the product of it at the end, and then that's a great blessing to come back and say, look at what we did.
Yeah, I think folks are surprised when CP actually helps the church. Well, thank you all so much for joining us for this panel. Yeah.
What a
Thank you for
joy.
having
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching us. I think Pastor Jose set me up there just a moment ago to make sure to tell you to go to sbc.net/CP to find resources for your church when it comes to learning about the Cooperative Program. Certainly, you can go to your state convention, your regional network, and find resources there. Thanks for joining us.